"It's good to be standing and walking," she said to Gaillard. He nodded. "I don't know about you, but my legs were about to fall off from lack of motion." Zaria laughed. "You win. It wasn't quite that bad for me. It's much better than an extended road trip." Gaillard stooped to pick up some decent-sized sticks, and Zaria bent to grab a few too. They talked amicably and walked, stretching their legs until they were too burdened by their loads to keep going. "My arms are going to collapse," Zaria huffed. Her breath fogged around her face, covering and then revealing a well-pinked nose and cheeks. "Let's head back to camp." "Sounds good to me," Gaillard said, and turned around to do just that. Zaria followed and collided into him, dropping her load of kindling all over the ground. "Hey!" she exclaimed as she went to gather them. "Why did you stop?" "I don't think we're going to find camp," Gaillard said, worrying his lip. He juggled his armful of wood and pointed haphazardly forward. "It's like pea soup." Zaria looked up from playing 52 pickup and saw what worried Gaillard. In front of them was a wall of fog, thick, viscous, and impossible to see through. She gulped and carefully set down the pile she'd been working to gather again. Was it her imagination, or did the fog seem to be breathing? It crept closer in stages, not fast enough that she saw it while looking directly at it, but if she looked away and back, it most definitely moved. Gaillard?" Zaria said, slowly gaining her feet. "I think we should move, and fast." Gaillard looked at her, puzzled. "I don't think fast is an option here. Now, if you pick up your stack and stick near me, maybe we can Marco Polo our way back to the others." "Gaillard," Zaria hissed, her voice racketing higher, "the fog is moving." He didn't look impressed. The breathing sounds from within the fog grew louder, distressing Zaria. "No, seriously, it's moving like it's alive." Gaillard looked back again and stared hard, trying to penetrate the fog with his gaze alone. Zaria started to ease away, firewood forgotten. "Come on, Gaillard, we have to move. Can't you hear the breathing?" "That isn't you?" he asked, alarmed. "No!" Zaria shouted. "Run!" Gaillard dropped his stack of firewood and ran, grabbing her arm as he whizzed past her. There was a deafening roar behind them. The duo panicked and put on more speed. Zaria ran, repeating the mantra in her head to not look back, to keep running, to not ever look back. She knew from books that the person who looked back was doomed. They would inevitably slow down and stumble in the process. It wasn't worth it. Whatever was chasing through the forest behind them wasn't worth it. When another roar sounded behind them, Zaria jerked Gaillard's arm. "Don't look back," she warned. But that didn't stop them from straining to hear what was chasing them, to try to locate it with their other senses. Their footfalls slapped loudly on the ground. Zaria was fiercely glad that it hadn't snowed. She did not relish trying to run through ankle or knee-high thick snow. They would have been precariously slowed by its presence. As it was, visibility was diminishing rapidly. Whispers of fog snaked around their ankles. Zaria got a stitch in her side and started wheezing. Gaillard tried to drag her and then push her, but she was winded. He wasn't much better off than her, but desperation was clearly giving him the drive to keep forging ahead. Zaria was done. She had nothing left. I can't keep going," Zaria gasped, falling into a limping run. She held her side and struggled vainly to keep up with Gaillard, but he quickly pulled ahead. Soon her fingers were slipping through his grasp, and they broke apart. The fog swirled like soup around her ankles. The breathing in its midst grew worse, if that were possible. All ragged and heavy, shivers raced along Zaria's spine. "Climb a tree!" Gaillard yelled, racing to a thick trunk and quickly scrambling up it. "Are you kidding me?" Zaria called back, limping the last few dozen feet to the same tree. She looked up the length of it to discover Gaillard halfway up. He was climbing it like a freaking around the tree in a pantomime of a hug and searched for toeholds. She didn't get very far off the ground when she lost her footing and fell to the forest floor. And then it was too late. Their tormentor was upon them, and there wasn't anything Zaria could do. A shadow appeared in the fog, large, menacing, and feral. It was as tall as a bear, standing on 2 feet, and as wide as an elephant. It lumbered laboriously toward them, its deafening breathing straining the children's nerves with the rough, rumbling sounds. Zaria pressed herself into the tree trunk and squeezed her eyes shut. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's what's the next chapter.
Now we have to all go by the book, so it's a funny thing.
Yes. If anybody would like a card to help them remember the book or my name, I have plenty. I have no idea how to